It always comes to this. Morning, guys. Back again to do another tattoo video here for you. Not necessarily a tattoo progress update for me today, although obviously I'm always having work done myself. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in the tattoo world in general, near and far here. In a similar vein, we're always doing lots of black work at the shop here now. It's no secret. I've been showing off some of the other artists here have started getting blacked out themselves, and they all have pretty elaborate projects that they have planned to do over their blackouts. Or in the case of Terry, he's just blacking himself out because he kind of wants to know what it's all about and how it feels, and he's having a bit of a hard time getting a good stretch on his own leg, but he's been working on it. It's hard to stretch the skin on yourself real tight and get a good saturated black, but I think he's enjoying the challenge. That guy's really he's motivated by challenges. So he's also been working on a couple of other people that I'll see if I can get a picture of the one girl. She's got 2 full black sleeves by him and a blackout chest just recently. She's working on a more or less full black bodysuit. There'll be some shape to it, but once they get the black work done, they're coming back in with white and some red and things like this, black on black. It's going to be a whole huge project. I'm looking forward to seeing that develop. He's had a few other projects as well. We have an older lady who is getting a terrible tattoo that she had done when she was young, covered up on her forearm. It was first she thought about some laser. We talked about whiting out parts of it, similar to Bianco Cato art that I showed on a Reacts. It may have gone up already. If not, it will be soon. A lady that does whiteout technique, so she whites out the existing tattoo, or sometimes just the lines, if it's just the lines that are super dark, and then she does kind of soft, delicate flowers over top, mostly like watercolory, color-based, like light flowers. It's not for me, but I think it's super interesting that people are doing things like this, and whenever I get wind of it, I'll always cover it on either Reacts or I'll talk about it on these vlogs, because I think we need to spread as much awareness about alternative cover-up methods as possible, and I don't think that most social media channels focus on that. Most of them just want to go with what's trendy, and I'm kind of anti-trend, to be quite honest. So Terry was working on this lady he did, I think, 2 passes of black on this cover-up. They did a little triangle, or diamond, I guess, not triangle, over top of her old tattoo. And she just came in the other day to get the white and black on black parts of it, and she was in here like a kid on Christmas. And if you'll recall, we did one of these at the shop. Alicia did one of these on a lady's neck back in, I guess it was earlier this year. It feels like it's been a long year. Give me some slack on that. There's been a lot this year. But what bothered me was the lady wasn't really all that, she wasn't really all that happy with it, or she didn't really understand how rare it is to find an artist willing to do this. So my big beef with that one was that, not that she didn't tip or anything like that, but she just wasn't very happy with what had been done for her, even though it was a huge life changer. That really bummed me out. This lady, however, that Terry did this floral cover-up for, this white and black on black cover-up, she was over the moon. She had tears in her eyes at the end of it. She had this tattoo for quite a long time. I don't actually have a picture of the existing tattoo. It was like a really badly done color paw print. Terry ended up actually doing a realistic paw print of the same dog on her prior, and that's where they got talking about this cover-up method. And we're still having to sell it to people a little bit, but usually when they see the work that's on me and just how much of it I have now and the clarity that we've gotten to with it, people are more than willing to take the chance. And it's an easier sell to do a couple rounds of blackout on someone and then give them a nice new tattoo, whatever kind of tattoo they want, essentially, than it is to tell them that we can try laser. You can come in for who knows how many sessions every 6 weeks for the next couple of years, and then we can do something that you might not want, because some parts of the tattoo aren't going to remove completely, and you'll have to be a little bit more picky with the design that you do over it. That's just a realistic sell of laser. So what we're trying to do here is give people alternatives to that. I still do the laser, and there are some things that I recommend doing laser for, honest to God. I'm not completely, like, even though I talk a lot of shit about laser, it does have its purposes sometimes. We had a guy who, he had a pin-up that was pretty light overall on his arm, but the lines were just dark. And for Rick, the only thing he needed was for those lines to be lightened. So it didn't make sense to completely black out the whole tattoo just so you can cover some of the black. You know, it just made sense to, I mean, you probably could have done that with white ink as well, but I don't mind utilizing the laser in those sorts of situations where it's just, you know, a small thing that you can do to enhance or facilitate an easier cover-up. So this isn't me taking a baseball bat to the laser. I make money on laser here every week. With that said, I just don't think that it should be the only cover-up route that people talk about when we have cool results happening every day with other methods. Likewise, we had a guy who had a big tribal on his arm. He came to us, again, start of the year. He's on a bit of a budget. He's got to travel a little bit. You know, there aren't really any Blackwork outfits around here. If you go to Calgary, maybe you can get someone to do it. But offhand, I can't think of anyone who's advertising doing blackout. So it would just be a case of, like, they'd take it on as a special project, where here we're trying to kind of own that market. And we have 4 artists that have done Blackwork here. And they're all varying degrees of good at it. With that said, we had a guy travel here who found me on Instagram, not from too far away, maybe a couple towns over, and he had a big tribal on his shoulder that he wasn't thrilled with, and so Terry and I sold him on kind of the same thing that we're doing. He turned it into a big black wing, and for a while it just looked like he had a big black shape on his arm. But now they've gotten into it again. They're doing the Panthera over dynamic black, like what I did. Terry wanted to do the entire first pass of the black and white on black in the one session we had here this last week. But the guy unfortunately tapped out after the black shading. He wasn't game to go for the white. We did tell him that we have had better results packing white and black in the same session. And people are always wondering what I mean by that. Like, they think that I mean we're mixing them or something to make them gray or something. No, so you line with black on black. You shade the darkest points with black on black. You can even get tones of black. You can, you know, pack and whip shade black. So some parts are darker, some parts are lighter over the black. And then in the lighter parts of the tattoo, where you would do, say if you were doing black and gray, you'd use your lightest shades in this part, you pack with white. And again, you can brush white so that you have varying gradients of black and gray shading, essentially, with blackout. It's not mixing ink, it's nothing like that. It's actually really simple once you wrap your mind around it. Once you understand that in here, for example, some of this is shaded with black, you can see, and some of it is shaded with white. And some of it is highlighted with white because we did 3 passes. But even here, this is all 2 pass. You can see in here there's dark shading and light shading. That's not the old existing black, that's new black added on top of the black. You can't use the old black as the black shading. It doesn't work that way. I'm not sure why. But even if you think, well, my black is pitch black, it can't get any blacker, that is not the point. The point is creating a new structure with white and black on black and doing a whole tattoo with it. With that said, it seems like when you put the two together, they age better, and when you do just the white on its own, it doesn't hold up as well. And when you just, even if you come back with the black in, say, a month or two, the white hasn't maintained its same clarity. It seems like when you do the two at the same time together, they both hold up, and if they do fade, they fade back together in a way that keeps their contrast. So we've had better results with doing the black and white on black together. I found this with my torso work. Rick and I were chasing our tail forever, and there was one tentacle that just would not work. No matter how many times Rick put the black in, by the time he came back with the white, the black had softened quite a bit, and he had to rebuild the black. So I said to him, I was like, let's do both at the same time. And that tentacle's still there today. It hasn't changed since that appointment. So there's something about fully saturating the tattoo in one session that seems to do the trick. So we were very upfront with this guy with his black on black wing, that if we didn't put the white in, we need to get him back here right away. So he's coming back in 3 weeks. I'll show that off when it's done, obviously. But even then, we would have had a better heal and a better result if he had stuck it out. And I just feel like it's hard to explain that to people in a way that commands their attention when they're in pain. It seems like people have a really hard time being logical when they're in pain. I don't, but then again, I'm in pain quite often. But what I observe here working at the tattoo shop is people are willing to suffer a worse result to get the pain to stop. And it's unfortunate, but it's a reality. And we're not working on robots here, so those results won't be as good as they could have been. With that said, whenever we offer this kind of a thing to anyone, we do tell them they have to come back for the second pass of white. We almost make them sign a contract in blood on it that they will come back for a second pass of white. You can't get your white on black, black on black tattoos to look this good with just one pass of white. Or even if you don't like these roses, let's change the terminology. Not so good, so clear and so defined. And whether you like these roses or not, they are that. All of my work is. And that's because I was willing to put in the time. So we won't start one of these projects on someone if they're not down to do the passes that it requires. It's a little bit like why I don't like people traveling here for work, because they'd be traveling here several times, and I feel like it's a bit of a liability to bring them from very far. If they're just, a couple hours away, that's one thing, but if they're traveling here, a couple days, or they're flying here from somewhere exotic and spending all that money, it just feels like they should just get someone to do it in their area. Again, we're not wizards here. We're just using anecdotal evidence that basically has all come from working on my bodysuit and is now being applied to other people from there. With that said, there is another artist I wanted to bring up here. I got a little ranty and I thought I'd get to this quicker, but there's a guy named Clayton Diaz, and I'm going to be doing a reacts to him pretty quick here. I've known of this guy for a while now. I've been watching this project develop, but I didn't want to bring him up until he had a healed shot of his sleeve on his page, because I'm so tired of people talking shit about these things and asking to see them healed. I actually just finally posted my red on black rework of the moon, and the first thing I got was, I want to see it healed though. It's like, it just gets exhausting, and I don't like dealing with that energy, so I'd rather wait till I have healed stuff to post. Now I have clips from a video that he posted where his client is grabbing his skin and moving it around, and you can see that it's healed, and it's bright, bold fucking color. This guy started a Japanese traditional sleeve, big koi on a guy, bright as fuck, I'd say back in March or April. And he's been working on it diligently for quite a while. I think they've done 3 passes over the entire thing, which checks out to me. To begin with, though, the guy does pack some solid color, so it's not like it's a very big surprise to me. It will be to some, but not to me. All of his other work is incredibly colorful, and so all this says to me is, again, as I've always said, if you can pack color over black, or if you can pack color, you can pack color over black. Not much changes, except you're going to need more sessions. Because what happens is, once you get a certain amount of color into that black, there's more color in the ink than there is black. It's the same thing I figured out with doing 3 passes of red on my arm, and it stayed a lot redder. And it's the same reason why I plan on doing a third pass on my neck eventually. Just because I've seen the result of doing 3 passes with my arm, I now want to bring up all of my red on black to 3 passes before I grow my hair in, and quite soon I'm going to be doing a third pass / touch-up pass on my head, and the neck is going to be coming up in about a month or 2, I would say. But that sleeve, which will be in the pictures here, the Japanese traditional sleeve, is so inspiring and so cool to see, and it's too bright for my taste. I didn't want my sleeve to be that bright. That's why we used the muted red velvet. Again, as I've showed off, you can get brighter reds over black, as evidenced by this one. But it's really cool to see people pushing the envelope. And when that guy first started that sleeve, I was getting tagged in it all the time, and the comments were vomit-inducing. People doubting him, calling him a fucking asshole, calling him a con artist, all this stuff. He kept referencing my body of work, no joke, as a reference for someone who has color over black healed. I got tagged in that by him, defending himself over and over again even. So, which is, I feel honored to say that, but also disgusted that needed to happen. People shouldn't honestly think that all of this could ever eventually just turn back to black. It's silly that they do. I'm happy to see more of these projects happening on small and large scale, and I think that that's only going to ramp up as time goes on. The more of these examples get out there, the more people are going to step into this. It takes a long time for some people to believe in something. Even the guy who was getting the wing here at the shop said, he was really skeptical at first, but when he met me and he seen my tattoos in real life, that's all it took for him. He probably thought that we were doing some kind of crazy editing or something, but that's never the case. Anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my thoughts on all of this and show off some cool work that's being done. We're going to have more of these projects at the shop here very soon. As I said, there's at least 5 more that I'll be talking about in the next little while here. So if you're interested in these developments, stay tuned. And I'll talk to you guys again soon.